I guess before we start, have you heard of Emberwind at all before? Have you played it, seen it, any of that?
Nope.
Okay, so Emberwind is a kind of a weird tabletop RPG designed by yours truly, and it's kind of the first of its kind because it's a modular game. You can kind of play it however you want. So you like 300 pages of rules, you can do that, or if you want and play to play the game with only like one page of rules, you can also do that, and it scales between one player to lots of players to with or without a GM, and so on and so forth. So today, for kind of a quick little introductory demo, what we have prepared, if you can see my screen here, is The Skies of Axia, which is a campaign book that we've written that will run with or without a GM and down to one or two players. Just so I make sure that all the text's working all right. Can you see this?
Yep.
Cool. So what we've done to try and make it work for like any group, no matter what their experience level is that written a we've written a campaign book that works kind of like a choose your own adventure.
Oh, neat. I love the choose your own adventure books.
Right. So the first thing that you'll need to know is a little bit about the world of Axia here, and I can read stuff out to you, or if it's any easier, you can read it on my screen. Though I don't know how good the resolution is on the screen share.
I can read it well enough, but if you want to read it too, you can go ahead. I mean,
Sure.
whatever.
So you'll be playing on a world called Axia, which is this really vast, immersive world that's full of competing factions, political intrigue, and unsolved mysteries. It's a fragmented world where the planet has actually been blown apart, and there are these floating continents that just populate the world, hidden away in all these dense clouds of miasma. Now, miasma is a toxic gas that pollutes the entire planet, and it alters living creatures in various ways, though how that exactly happens is a mystery you're going to have to uncover as you play through the game. Thankfully, there are Hearth Crystals as well, which are in this image here. You'll see these kind of glowing crystals over here.
Yep.
They both protect against miasma, and they also provide lift, allowing for continents, airships, and even cities to stay afloat in this otherwise, shattered world. But each of these crystals aren't a single solid object. They're actually made of hundreds and hundreds of tiny little slivers called hearth shards that fuse together to create this large protective system. The setting that you'll be playing in is Adriel, this large, thriving port city that's made up of a bunch of congregated airships that have chained their ships together, giving up their ability to freely fly to create this metropolis for everyone to live in. Now, Adriel has been built up over centuries, and because of that, there are distinct social classes that have evolved, as well as districts based on when ships have joined the fleet. The Council of Nobles that governs the city, they sit right in the center of Adriel, and they also control, in like an iron fist, the sale and movement of hearth crystals around Adriel and at large. The merchant clans, however, hold most of the city's wealth and are maintaining its daily operations. Along with that, though, there are obviously going to be criminal organizations, and the most notorious are the Chasers Guild, which are violent and efficient and live and operate out of Gelspar, which is the decrepit slum that literally hangs beneath the rest of the city. The story that you'll be playing through, specifically in The Skies of Axia, involves Gelspar, where the Hearth Crystal that's been installed there is starting to fail. And if it does completely fail, that district will collapse, causing it to plummet, free-falling and killing everyone that lives there. Kendrick Maddox is a wealthy merchant baron who has promised to replace that crystal. However, most people suspect that Kendrick is doing this as a campaign, an act to show his power so that he can take a seat on the Council of Nobles despite not being noble-born himself. And there is a growing tension between the merchants and the nobility because of this. You're going to be playing as the group that Kendrick has hired to secure a new Gellspar crystal. Is that good?
Yep.
Cool. So, in Emberwind, you can make your own characters, and there is a much deeper dive into the lore along with a bunch of other characters that you can read up. Though, one quick and easy way to get you started is by having you pick one of our 4 pre-generated heroes. Each of these heroes have their own backstory. So, just to speed this up a little bit, and because we're playing this in a bit of an online format, which one of these heroes, based on the artwork, appeals to you?
I'm definitely going to say the one on the far left.
Far left, all right.
Yeah.
So we've got Rook there. And Rook here is our soldier of fortune, and his defining quote, his creed, is that actions forge tomorrow. His description is that, Rook is a former soldier with a deep sense of duty to the people of Adriel. Born and raised in the slums of Gellspar, he's especially loyal to the lower castes, whose concerns are often overlooked by the nobility. A skilled fighter, Rook has vowed to do everything in his power to protect the city he calls home. There's a much deeper dive into his history. He even has a little webcomic available on our website if you want to find out more about who you're playing. Though for now, that should suffice to kind of give you an idea for who he is. We even give you multiple options on which variant of Rook that you can play, though for today you'll be playing the Atlanta version of him, which is a unique class to Emberwind, since it's, just a quick, easy demo.
Right.
This game does allow you to play as multiple heroes if you want to, so you're welcome to pick any of the other characters to play as well, or if you want to keep things simple and play just one character, that's perfectly fine. And if that's the case, I'll pick a character to come and play along with you.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to stay with just playing as Rook.
All right. If that's the case, I think I'm going to play with Laureate here, which is the redhead to your right.
Okay.
Yeah. Laureate is Adriel's foremost scholar of Hearth Crystals. Once a bright young student with a promising career, she's haunted by a deadly accident that destroyed her reputation 10 years ago. She has since channeled her grief into a relentless pursuit of knowledge, attacking her research with a single-minded focus that has distanced her from the rest of the scientific community. Laureate has a profound faith in scientific inquiry and is willing to do almost anything to gain access to the resources and secrets that have been denied her, and she'll be played as a druid in this demo. Okay, with the characters introduced, we'll be skipping the prologue and we'll be introducing you to the actual story, and we'll be reading along the story, and at certain points you'll need to make decisions. Mechanics will be introduced to you, and we'll effectively kind of scaffold towards learning the entire game by the end of the session. Is that good?
That sounds like a plan to me. Let's do this.
Awesome. So we'll start here with last one out, get the lights. Darkness falls over the streets of Gellspar like a cloak. Unlike the rest of Adriel, the slums are not offered the luxury of light. Crowds of the ragged and hungry flock to the underbellies of the great ships.
Hang on one sec. I'm hearing like a high
Sorry, I'm
switching
at home right now.
peel.
That's my wife going out with the dog.
Oh, so that's like a door alarm. Okay, I was about to warn you because I'm hearing like a loud pitch, like noise coming from your end.
Yeah, that's my door alarm. Sorry about that.
Not an issue. Keep going.
Yep. Right, I think I was on the middle sentence. Yeah, so crowds of the ragged and hungry flock to the underbellies of the great ships, where the rich toss their waste overboard, scraps, coin, and whatever other junk or charity they deem ample enough for the poor's survival. The locals know alertness tempered by silence is necessary for their survival. Loose lips or the jingle of coppers could earn one a shiv in the back. It's common for people, even entire families, to disappear completely. The lucky ones reappear again as corpses underfoot. Rustling scabbards, the echo of boots on metal, and the practiced moans of pleasure workers are the only sounds once night falls. That and the ever-present hum of the Gellspar's Hearth Crystal. It sits atop an ornate tower covered with detailed stonework, at odds with the ramshackle slums surrounding it. Someone valued Gellspar at one point, but no longer. Today, anyone could use the intricate carvings as handholds and climb up to the Hearth Crystal to steal a shard. And that is why the crystal is failing. The crystal that once lit up the night like a beacon has been reduced to a dim glow that is becoming dangerously faint. Every day, locals brave enough or desperate enough to climb the tower and steal slivers of the precious gem to turn a quick profit. When you're hungry enough, selling off tomorrow to get through today is an easy choice. But as the people of Gilspar chip away at their one safeguard against the toxic air of Axia, they're accruing a debt that will never be able to repay. Which points, you're introduced to the first mechanic here, the campaign clock. For Gilspar, time is short. Kendrick Maddox has promised to deliver a new Hearth Crystal to save it. The campaign clock tracks the advancement of time in campaigns where time is a limited resource. Every decision you make affects the party shared campaign clock, which affects the available story paths and gameplay options at different times. If the campaign clock advances too far, Gilspar will fall before the heroes can save it. You'll find out if you're too late to help in Act 3. So, just to explain that very clearly, what that means is every decision you make may come at the cost of time, which means you can't go on every single side quest like you would typically in an RPG.
Right.
Because sooner or later, something bad's going to happen. Right, and this will take us to Act 1, the slum. Into the fold. For generations, parents have regaled their children with tales of Adriel, the great city in the sky. They say it is proof of humanity's ability to conquer the toxic miasma that has swallowed the world of Axia. The Cloud Utopia is a hub of learning, commerce, and culture more vibrant and diverse than any of the great fallen empires. And so it is for those in the upper reaches of the metropolis. Gilspar, on the other hand, is a dangling eyesore the rest of Adriel would prefer to forget. Fortunately, it's easy to get away with things when no one is looking, which is why you are on the way to Gilspar this evening. You've instructed to meet at the foot of the Clueless Prince, the crumbling statue that stands guard over the eastern square between Gilspar and the Red Market. It's used to depict one of the noble founders of the city, but vandals removed the head years ago. Time has eroded away any other identifying features. Now his headless gaze is a symbol of Adriel's indifference to the district. The citizens above can't be bothered to fix anything below, not even in praise of one of their own. Today, the Prince's Square is nothing more than a convenient meeting place, a no-man's land between the two districts. Almost all the market stands that once filled the space have moved on. The few that remain are unlikely to stay for long. A woman, flanked by 2 sentries with long spears, emerges from the mist with a lantern held aloft and approaches the base of the statue. Both sentries have the Maddox emblem, a serpent coiled around the trunk of a large tree, etched into their breastplates. "Welcome to Gilspar," she says, warily eyeing each of you. "My name is Elise. I work for Kendrick, and now, so do you. So I suggest you take a moment to become acquainted with each other." Elise tosses your group a small bag containing 10 gold pieces. "For traveling expenses," she says, and I can keep track of all this particular stuff on my own here. You will find Kendrick at the Starlight Commons in the heart of Gilspar. He doesn't like to be kept waiting, and it's a bit of a walk, so you better get going. Oh, and do try to stick together. That part of town can be dangerous. Elise begins walking towards the Red Market, but you sense something has been left unsaid. If you want to know more about Gilspar, this is your only opportunity to ask her. However, questions take time, and it seems that is a resource you cannot afford to waste. And that takes us to our first role-playing moments here. There's a free role-playing moment where you and I can introduce ourselves and like the versions of our characters that we want to be playing to one another. Following that, we'll need to make a decision where we'll have to pick between different paths what to do. So, did you want to like adopt a quick character, or did you kind of just want to play through this as just yourself?
Define playthrough as myself.
Well, when I say playthrough as yourself, I mean like Rook's decision making is effectively your decision making, right? Like,
right.
You can be the strong silent type, not tell me anything about who you are, and just make your choices and let those choices kind of define you as you play through the game.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sounds good. All right, so in this decision crosser over here, we have to make a standard vote. There are different types of votes, including snap votes and so forth that we'll get to later. But in standard votes, it's pretty simple. You get one vote, I get one vote. And we have to pick between path A or path B. And depending on whichever choice gets the most votes is the one that we'll go to. If, however, we can't convince each other and we're both choosing different paths, there is instead a tiebreaker penalty, where every time that happens, we will add 1 to the campaign clock. That makes sense?
Yeah. I'm about to say, you paused. I was actually about to ask you if you were still there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still here. Cool. Yeah. So, our 2 options are to go to your meeting in Gelspar. There's no point in delaying your trip with unnecessary questions. Elise is not likely to tell you anything you cannot learn from Kendrick. Or Path B, ask Elise about the area. Gelspar is not a safe place, and it's always better to be prepared. And hopefully, you're not looking forward to the hidden section.
Trying not to.
Yeah, I mean, I can change the page. So, there. So, yeah, between the 2, would you like to move on or ask Elise some questions?
Well, on the one point, it is nice to know what the dangers we were about to face, but on the other side, I'm kind of looking at that crystal. I'm thinking times are the essence. We should probably get to this meeting.
Right. So, which are you thinking, Brooke? Right? Which option are you leaning towards?
I'm leaning towards we need to get to this meeting quickly. So let's just head there. I'm sure we are capable of dealing with whatever dangers come our way, and Kendrick might have more information.
All right. Well, given what I know about your backstory and that little introduction, I know that you're familiar with Gelspar, right? You grew up here, so yeah. I'm willing to trust and put my faith in you, in that you know this area and the dangers we're about to face. So I'll go along with you, and that means that we're going to go down Path A. Path A outcome. Elise turns a corner and disappears. Then you cross the bridge and leave the civilized part of the city. With any luck, it will be an uneventful trip.
And we are supposed to turn to page 36 to continue our journey.
Right. Whereas if we went through Path B, you'll notice here that we would have a campaign clock added, but we go to Inful Part 2 instead.
Right.
Cool. So we'll hop over to page 36. The Hacksaw Bridge. The streets of Gelspar are deserted as you approach the Hacksaw Bridge. Only a few sheets of metal separate you from the vast abyss below. To fall off Gelspar is to fall off the edge of the world. You don't even know if you would ever hit the ground. The bridge is a dilapidated structure, wood and sheet metal, running between 2 of the larger vessels that make up the slum's core. In better days, a railing provided some degree of safety for the careless and the clumsy. Has long since fallen away, exposing travelers to high winds and a precipitous drop that has claimed many drunkards. Even now, 2 bodies slump against a building next to the bridge, only a few feet from the edge. Whether they are drunk or dead is anyone's guess, but a hangover will be the least of their problems they roll out of the wrong side of the bed. We have a detour here. The 2 men may need assistance. On the other hand, they are easy prey to pilfer from as well. Do you want to take a closer look and decide what to do with them? We can also completely skip them if you would like.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Rook would be, especially since again he's been a local of the area, that he would want to check up on these 2, make sure they're okay. I mean, he doesn't want them dropping, especially off the edge of the map.
I mean, that's fair. Okay, sure. Let's do that then. Normally there's a little bit more contention here because other players would be like, well, no, we're wasting time or something.
Right.
But yeah, so you're just going to have to imagine, because unfortunately we only have 1 player and I don't want to be the jerk that's constantly telling you no.
Right.
So, yeah. The men seem to still be alive, but their breath is shallow and infrequent. You can see what looks like a small vial in one of their pockets. Note, the heroes discuss and decide by majority vote if they will assist the men or steal from them. Do not read the bulleted outcomes below until the party has made a choice. Either way, though, this has cost us 1 campaign clock right now. So if you want to try and assist them, as per your history and motivations that you led to this, or do you want to steal from them right now?
I think we should assist them.
Okay. If the party chooses to assist, the men wake up and leave, offering no thanks. Exit detour and continue encounter on to the next page. So, what have we learned there? Maybe not everyone's worth helping, huh?
I know.
Alright, the surrounding shadows grow deeper every minute. You stand at the edge of the Hacksaw Bridge. The derelict span looks like it might fall apart at any moment, and who knows what criminals lurk nearby, ready to prey on anyone foolish enough to try crossing the bridge after dark. Do you, Path A, scout for an ambush, or Path B, check for traps, or Path C, proceed across the bridge? Now, Path A and Path B requires that our campaign clock is less than 3, and thankfully, because we skipped talking to Lace, our campaign clock is only at 1 right now, which means we have the time to check for the ambush or traps, but not both. Did you want to do either, or do you want to just proceed right across?
We don't really have time for. Well, surrounding channels go deeper and removed to the Hacksaw Bridge. Nightfall party moment. Who knows what criminals are nearby? I'm more concerned with the ground falling beneath our feet than I am with the fact of being attacked while on it. So let's search for traps quick.
That's fair. All right. There are bloodstains, scuff marks, and other evidence of a recent skirmish. What else did the gangs leave behind? So at this point, I need to send you a link to. Actually, no. Do you have Are you in the Roll20?
My Roll D20 account is active. I am waiting for a room invite.
Okay, sounds good. Let me get you that in. Wait, actually, I thought I left the invite in the text channel.
In the you mean in
RPG1?
In RPG1. Let me take a quick check on that.
RPG1 text.
Roll20. Roll pen and paper. There's a link into the. Oh wait. Here's a link invite for Roll20 for map usage.
Yeah. That's. We're not looking at the Bodana Bedlam. We're looking at the Emberwind one. Yeah. For
Roll20. Emberwind 1 Hacksaw Bridge. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Launch game.
Yes. Please launch that.
Launching.
Cool. And give me a sec.
Roll20 is loading. And I don't need to. I've been through the tutorial.
We have this made for Tabletop Sim 2, but not everyone has Tabletop Sim. I should check if you had that first, but
no, I do not.
Okay, it's not too bad. Oh hey, I can also see you on Roll20.
Hey.
Hey, I've disabled my webcam and headset on Roll20 because I'm also on Zoom and Discord at the moment, so hopefully I'm not echoing too much.
No, you're not.
Cool. So under characters, actually, are you familiar with Roll20, or do you need to run you through it a little bit?
Under characters, I ran through the tutorial, but that's about all I've really gotten through.
Okay.
I'm looking through characters. I'm looking for characters.
Top right, you'll see a bunch of icons.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
There's chat. The third one is the journal. If you click on the journal, you'll see characters there, or hopefully you'll see characters there.
I see Lauret, Piper, and Wrath.
Lauret, Piper, Wrath. Under characters or handout? Characters, right?
It says. I don't see a thing for handout. I don't see a thing for characters under journal.
Okay, no worries. So under journal, there should be 3 characters. Do you see Rook there or no?
No, that's what I'm saying. I clicked on journal. It says handouts, Lauret, Piper, and Wrath.
Okay. Give me a quick second, because I just have to enable the ability to see it. Can you see Rook now?
Yes, characters, Rook. There he
is. So that is you. We're not going to be looking at the bio and info. We're going to be looking at the character sheet, which is the second tab.
I only see the first tab, bio and info.
Okay. And let me give you control. All right. Do you see the other tabs now or no?
Nope.
It's PC display roll mode. Sorry, you gotta be patient with me struggling through this.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. You've got me until 8 o'clock.
Wow.
Well, no, because at 8 I'm running a session, so...
Oh, cool.
Hang on. While you're doing that, I'm getting a call.
Yeah, no worries.
Hello. Who is this again? Okay, Frank, what's up? What can I do for you? This coming Monday between 8 and 10? Okay, not a problem. Thanks for the heads up. You too.
Sorry, sometimes Roll20 gets a little finicky.
Not a problem, man.
Let's see. Okay, there should be a new entry for Rook there.
Okay.
Can you see him?
Hang on. Okay, BIOS info, you said we're at character sheet.
Yep.
Okay.
You see the character sheet?
Yep.
Awesome.
I've got all the tabs now.
Yeah, so the character sheet currently is blank. Give me a quick second to populate it. There or no?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So there you go. All right, so this is Rook, and I'll introduce you to our character sheets really quick. Each of our character sheets actually have, or to make a character in the game, you can actually make it using multiple different systems. One of the systems is the aspect system, where you just describe your character with some words and the game will construct it for you.
Ooh, I like
the other
that.
system is the attribute system, where you roll for stats the way that you would typical to RPGs.
Right.
Rook here is built based on the aspect system, so there were some words that we defined or used to define him based on his backstory, which generated all these numbers for you.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the most important things about the characters in this game is that we use a roll low system, not a roll high. So 1s are good, 20s are not. And earlier, if we look back to my screen, you'll see that we are checking for traps, right?
Right.
And checking for traps requires some sort of skill usage. In this case, we're going to be checking for traps using insight.
Okay,
And-
so Rook has an insight of 12.
Yes. And because he has an insight of 12, what you can do is in the Roll20 chat,
Okay.
you can type commands. So which include the ability to roll dice.
Let's see. If I recall correctly, that was plus roll. And what am I rolling?
You'll be rolling a d20.
1d20.
I don't think it's plus.
Oh, okay. We'll try an exclamation point, man.
I believe it's. Do you see the 3D die there that I just did, or no?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the command is /roll.
Oh,
Yeah, space.
and then what I'm rolling.
1d20. and then it should pull up a...
There we go. Rolling the dice.
Right, cool.
So I got a 10.
Cool. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to roll equal or under your numbers in this game. So in this case, by rolling a 10, you have successfully used your insight skill.
Okay.
Cool. And for me, I believe my insight is an 8. And I rolled a 10, unfortunately, which means I failed. So there was only one success between the two of us.
Right.
Yeah. So if we take a look at this path challenge here, heroes with the Chaser anchor may claim 1 stack of advantage. On the back of your character cards, under your bio.
Okay, bio and info.
Yep.
Which is... Okay, what the
Oh,
heck?
sorry, no. So your character sheet has toggles at the top. The top one is character. The second one is inventory and bio.
Oh, inventory and bio. Okay, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Roll20 doesn't officially support us, so we had to build our own stuff into it.
Oh, that's fine.
Yep. You'll see on the back there's an inventory, there's keepsakes, and you have anchors there, right? So you'll see that you have an anchor called Chasers.
Yep.
Because of your familiarity with the criminal syndicate, you actually get advantage when you're doing anything that involves them. In this case, you would be able to roll 2d20 and take the better roll had you not succeeded on your first one. Right?
Right.
Whereas for me, I don't have such familiarity, so I would not be able to claim that stack advantage, which means my failure is a failure. However, there is a delayed outcome here, where you'll notice that if we asked Elise about potential dangers, but we didn't stop, right? But
Right.
if we did ask her, we would have the ability for one hero to claim stack advantage. In this case, that'd be me, because I would have failed. Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So, with one success in our hands, let's check the outcome here. Path B, 2 or more heroes succeed. They didn't, which means that we go with the 1 or fewer heroes succeed option, where there do not seem to be any traps. The bridge is dotted with broken glass, but it doesn't look like anything you need to worry about. +1 to the campaign clock, and then we proceed to Hacksaw Bridge Part 2.
I just want to make it abundantly clear, slightly metaing here. I do not trust that there do not seem to be any traps. But in character, but in character, I have little choice but to go with it.
Right. So this takes us to Hacksaw Bridge Part 2, and this is kind of an interesting one. It works a lot better with other players, but you'll still get a chance to get a feel for it, which works like this. You're about to start across the bridge when a shrill scream pierces the night. A woman runs into view on the other side, a chorus of deep barks and howls erupting behind her. Gasping for breath, she staggers towards you, arms outstretched. "Please," she shrieks. "Anyone! Help!" The city does not stir. Her cries echo and die in the silent, indifferent streets. In Gelsbar, sticking out one's neck is a good way to get it broken, and the courageous seldom live very long. A moment later, you see the creatures chasing her. 3 large, misshapen hounds emerge from the shadows of the alley and stalk toward her. The woman stumbles halfway across the bridge, falling with a cry of pain. Her knees buckle as she attempts to stand. The 3 beasts close in on her from all sides, the hungry jaws gaping open to reveal massive, protruding fangs in front of serrated rows of teeth. They snap and snarl at the woman, but seem to be waiting for some kind of signal before moving in for the kill. A cowled man with a face painted like a skull steps into view on the opposite end of the bridge. He approaches at a steady pace, a barbed leather whip in one hand and a gleaming dagger in the other. The woman looks at you, her eyes making a desperate appeal. "This don't concern any of you," the man says to you. "We're all friends here. Now move along before someone gets hurt. Wouldn't want to upset the boss." You're quite certain you've never seen this man before in your life. "Please," the woman begs again, her terrified voice barely audible above the growling beasts. "How can you be so cruel?" So, unlike the other decisions, this is not a standard vote, this is a snap vote. And how this works is, typically if we were playing in person, we would hold our hands out. And on the count of 3, we would either thumbs up to make a decision of Path B to defend her, right? You can hire to save Kelspar, and that includes its people. You will not stand by and watch one of them get torn to pieces in front of you. Or we can thumbs down for Path A, which would be to ignore her, and you've been hired to save all of Kelspar, not just one woman. The greater good demands that you move on, and you basically kind of throw her to the literal wolves here, much like a gladiatorial fight. Right? Now, Path B, which is defending the woman, is a weighted path, which means that even if only one of us votes for that, we all get pulled into the fight as though, let's say, you draw a sword and run in, they're going to interpret all of this as a threat, right?
So right, so they'll come after all of us.
Yeah. So, what we're going to do instead is in the Roll20 chat, on the count of 3, you're going to type either A or B for the path that you want. And then we'll play forward from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, let me know whenever you're ready. Yeah. And snap votes happen so quickly that we're not allowed to actually discuss it before we have to enter it.
Right.
Right.
Let me get back over to Roll20 quick. Okay, ready.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. Cool. So, based on that, obviously we get pulled into the fight, and this brings us to the Path A outro there, where the hounds growl, their hackles rise as you step forward. You tighten your grip on your weapons and prepare for combat, and this takes us to the combat encounter, Dog Eat Dog World. If we had all chosen to step back and leave her alone, you end up seeing what would be an extremely gruesome death, but it takes you to the encounter, the Houndmaster, where you realize that you can actually have a whole dialogue with him, and maybe he's not the bad guy, but now you won't know until your next playthrough.
Well.
Right. So this will take us to Dog Eat Dog World, and we're going to skip over the combat tutorial because I can just explain how it all works in a second. Instead, I'll introduce you to a bit of the layout. What we have here is the battlefield map. And you'll see on this particular map that's in the PDF, we also have on Roll20. And I'll be setting it up so that it's, identical. Right, do you see all that there?
Yes, I do.
Cool. And you'll also see on the right here that there are combat features and combat flares. Combat features are mandatory conditions that will add complexity to the combat, whereas combat flares are optional things that we can turn on or off.
Okay, where am I looking for this at?
Oh, sorry, you're looking in the PDF.
So I'm looking into right now. So I'm looking into the Zoom meeting. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So combat features are right here, which I'll tell you straight up that they're mandatory, whereas combat flares are optional. And they're really just for people who feel particularly masochistic or want some additional flavor and things layered into their game. You'll notice this other thing here too called flow. We're right now playing a dev game where I'm effectively running the game for you, but if you were playing this with your friends, you can either have a narrator, which is a role that every single person in the game embodies, that you pass the book along and each person reads an encounter each time. Or you can have a storyteller, which is like a GM. And to make the GM role a little bit more fun, we've added in a flow mechanic where the better the party does, the more flow points that the GM gets that they can spend at any point to make the campaign so much worse for the players. It's kind of like a tension gauge.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to be playing with broken glass because we have to. And that broken glass that you noticed is the actual trap. When a combatant enters a square with broken glass, which looks like any of these kind of shredded tiles here,
Okay.
they lose 1 HP and lose 2 squares of movement until the start of their next turn. If we were able to check for broken glass successfully during the trap phase, we would be able to negate their effect. We're also going to be playing with Protect the Objective, if you'd like, where the woman is an actual combatant in the encounter. She's not just cowering in a corner, she's actually on the map. And the enemies can go up to and kill her in the middle of the fight. And we'll have to do more than just defend ourselves, we'll have to defend her too. We can also add additional reinforcements in if we want to make the combat a little bit harder, where 2 hounds will actually start off flanking us from behind. And we can also add in strong winds that makes it harder for us to land ranged attacks when we're standing on any of the edges of the bridge. Lots of little options, but for now let's just keep it simple and we'll play with just the broken glass. And I'll leave the woman on the board for like an example of how that mechanic works, though we can play with or without her depending on how you feel about it, okay?
Also, noise increase within counters on the additional force target. Since hit counter 12, we're not actually using full target. Yeah, I'm thinking we should just keep this combat relatively simple since only the 2 of us.
Fair. No worries. Alright, so if that's the case, we have our starting positions, and the first thing to introduce you to before we can start the combat is this here. So when we're playing on not Roll20, we have a paper sheet which allows you to track initiative. On Roll20, they have their own initiative system, which we'll be co-opting for our purposes. But Emberwind works in a way where there are no initiative rolls, there's no randomness involved, you just pick and choose where you want to go. And how it works is 1 hero occupies hero slot 1, and you always go first. Following that particular hero, and let's say, you're going first, Rogue, right? Because realistically, you charged in.
Right.
Will be every single grunt foe. In this case, that would be every single bloodhound. You can tell what is a grunt based on the icon. And if you look back to Roll20, you'll see that the bloodhounds all have what looks like a bird skull there, right?
Yes.
So all 3 of those bloodhounds will go after you. Following that will be the next hero. In this case, that'd be me as Laureate. And then following me will be the next stronger enemy type, an Awakened, which you'll see is a skull with horns. Or in this case, the Houndmaster.
The Houndmaster.
Yep. And as combats get more and more complex and we add in more heroes, so too will there be stronger enemies like elites and bosses, and we're always alternating, but enemies will be moving in that same order every single initiative round, and they will also be moving from the weakest to strongest enemy.
Okay.
Cool. Alrighty. So with that said, we're going to take a look at your actual turn. So I'm going to need you to take a look at your character. Okay. And you'll notice at the very bottom left of your character card, there are 4 boxes there in the action pool, right?
Action pool. Yes.
Yeah. Every time you use an action, you'll be using up these boxes, and then you can check them off by clicking on them.
Okay.
Yep. And on the right, you'll see that every action that you have has a corresponding speed. So if you look at the very top, you'll see a move action there. Moving allows you to move anywhere between 1 to 5 squares, and that uses a slow, or in other words, 2 points of your action pool.
Okay.
You could, for example, move twice in 1 turn to give you, 2 slows or 4 points worth of movement. Right. You could also make 2 basic attacks. Your class actions are, you can think of them as your at-will superpowers. You can use them as much as you want, provided that you have the action pool to use it. So if that's the case, why would you ever use a basic attack poking someone with your spear when you could do something much cooler like skewer someone? And the answer to that is you wouldn't unless you literally have no other options, or if someone's giving it to you for free. That make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so let's have you start us off.
Okay, let's see. obviously, since I called us into this, I better move us. I'm going to start off by moving 4 squares. So towards the nearest Bloodhound.
Sure. And every square, by the way, is 1, including diagonals.
Okay, so now I gotta figure out how to move my guy.
Right. So if you click on Rook, like the icon on the map.
Yeah, I'm clicking. It's not doing anything.
Okay, give me a quick sec. Turn by character settings, cool. At the moment, it is controllable by Sam H. Okay, so it should be fine. Okay, if you
Again, clicking on it's not doing anything.
are you on the token layer, or are you on the map and background layer?
Oh, let's see what layer.
It's in the top left. There's something that looks like a cube there. Maybe it's the second icon under the little mouse pointer.
Draw shape, freehand, polygon, or text.
The one right above that.
The select move.
Select move. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's telling me that can tell me to transfer layers.
Okay. All right. I think that's a GM only tool then.
That is.
Okay. You can't like move Rook like this. You should be able to select them and like just use the arrow keys on your.
That's what I'm saying. If I select, nothing happens.
Okay. Do you have the select tool, select a move set, or is it pan right now?
Okay, so now I hit on select and move. Yeah, it's on select and move and nothing.
Okay, give me a quick sec. Okay, are you capable of moving them now?
There we go.
Cool.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move him there.
Okay.
And let's see. Anything I have here that I can do from projectile or...
Yep. So on your particular
crossbow.
Card, yes.
There
so
we are.
Shoot something with a crossbow. You've also got a bunch of other ranged options if you look down the range column.
Range.
Though Rook is an Atlanta, which is it's kind of like a cross.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, basic actions. I'm out of range for the spear, but I am in range for the crossbow shot.
Yeah, perfect. So if you want to shoot something in the game, you are going to be doing what's called a cap check. And
Okay.
you'll need to roll a d20. And once you do, I can explain how it works.
So slash roll 1d20.
Yep.
Rolling.
Nice. That is a fantastic roll, and this is probably the only time you've heard anyone say that. So, a cap check, you'll notice down the left column of your character card,
Okay.
where it says critical axiom penetration, right?
Yep.
So, cap stands for all 3, and that is what your one roll was to check. If you roll equal or under those values, you do it. So let's say you rolled a 10. 10 is equal or under accuracy, so you would hit the enemy, but is not equal or under your penetration, which means that some of the damage from your attack gets absorbed by their armor.
Right.
If you successfully penetrate by rolling, let's say, an 8 or 7 or lower, not only do you hit, but you'll deal full unmitigated damage. In your case, you rolled a 2, which means that not only did you hit and penetrate, you even critical the guy. So, a great way to start off. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look really quickly at the foe card, just so you can see it. And if you move your character card out of the way, you'll see on the table here, I have a card for the Bloodhound.
Okay, trying to figure out where to put my card so I can get out.
You can also pop it out. Like there's a
yeah, I just did that by accident.
Perfect, but that'll let you minimize it and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So you should be able to see the Bloodhound there.
I see the token, but I don't see the card.
It should be all the way right on the on the map level. Like, do you see the Bloodhound
Oh,
here?
now I see something that says Bloodhound.
Right. So I moved it a little bit. Yeah. If it helps at all, in the top right corner of the map area, you'll see like a little zoom bar.
Yep,
You can
I'm clicking
zoom
it.
out. Yeah.
Yep, I see it.
Great. Okay, great. I'm going to hide that again because you shouldn't see what's underneath yet.
Right.
Yeah. So the Bloodhound here, you'll notice has an HP bar, which you should be able to see right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it has 40 health per Bloodhound, and it also has this thing here called Toughness and Resistance. When you successfully hit something, you roll for damage based on the effect of that thing, and your crossbow does 3d8.
3d8.
Yeah, so if could I get you to roll that, please?
Roll 3d8.
Cool, 14. Whenever you successfully hit something, if you fail to penetrate, the damage will usually list an icon afterwards, and that will either match the toughness icon here or the resistance icon here. If you've hit against toughness without penetrating, your damage, which in this case is 14, gets reduced by that value, so 4, and you deal 10 to their health.
Right.
Yeah. And certain enemies, like if you look at the Houndmaster here, you'll see that his toughness is 4, but his resistance is 8. So, like, you'll actually want to specialize out and think about what you're trying to hit him with.
Right.
Yeah. In your case, though, you didn't just hit and penetrate, you critical. And in crits in this game, you don't roll, you just deal maximum damage. So in this case, your 3d8 maxed out to 24, leaving this Bloodhound right here in front of you, horribly crippled at 16 health, losing like 2/3 of it for a single attack. Cool. And if we go back to your character card, you'll see that you used a slow action to move, right?
Right.
And also another slow action to shoot, so your entire action pool
Yep.
would be checked out, and you'd be tapped out.
I am done.
Cool. Which point, it's time for the enemies. And one of the things I haven't told you yet is that the enemies in this game actually run on a pseudo AI system where you don't need a GM to play them, so you can actually control them yourself. And all you need to do for that is to roll a d6.
So you want me to roll a d6?
Yep.
Okay, I can do that. 3.
Cool. So when you roll a d6, you'll see at the top here for the Bloodhound this grid.
Right.
This is known as the Hex AI grid, and what happens is they always perform the action in the central middle hex there.
So he'll move 5 squares.
Yep, and then it will also perform every action in the direction of your roll. So in this case, it would move 5 squares and then perform a basic attack.
Okay.
If you roll, let's say, a 1, it would move 5 squares and then perform its special ability A instead.
Okay.
If we take a look down here, you'll see that this creature also has default characteristics. The characteristics will tell you how it actually performs. So the Bloodhound here has tunnel vision, which means it moves towards the nearest hero, and the other thing it has is immediacy, where it will also attack and target the nearest hero. So, if with all that said, that means that this hound right here, right, this one that I'm moving.
Pretty much, by the looks of it, every hound's heading towards me, and any that can reach will attack.
Right, exactly. Now, obviously that is real scary, but that gives you the ability to pre-plan, think about how you want to counter it.
Right.
If you want the tank to take the hits or whatever. However, we also have a couple other really interesting things here, like this optional modifier. If you want a little more flavor to your games, you can turn on optional modifiers, and this one here will change how they behave, where they don't move towards and target the nearest hero. They instead move toward and target the hero that last tried to attack their master.
Which would make sense.
Yeah. And the game has like a ton of these little options everywhere. In fact, we'll run you through the rest of this Bloodhound's turn before I switch over and show you another super cool feature that we have.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so when the Bloodhound runs up towards you and they try and perform a basic attack, you'll see that the basic attack here is a bite action.
Yep.
And there's a funny looking icon where it says bite versus something, right?
Right.
That icon matches to your dodge value.
Okay, so character sheet. Dodge. Toughness. Okay, yeah, I see it.
Yep. Now, just like before, as I mentioned every time you roll a d20, you're trying to roll low, right?
Right.
So in this case, you need to roll a 6 or under to avoid its bite.
Ew. Whew! That was close.
That is close. Good freaking job. So, because you successfully dodge, nothing happens to you. But had it hit you, you'll notice that the Bloodhound does damage, right? And the bite does 1d10 plus 10 damage, which could be anywhere between 11 to 20. However, it's done against your toughness, and you'll see that while your dodge is pretty low, your toughness value is rather high at 8, and your armor would eat 8 of the damage before the remainder gets done to your health. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. So that was one enemy, and then you'll need to roll another d6 for the next hound.
No other hounds can get within melee range.
Nope, but they will still move, even if they can't.
Right. I'm saying, like, we'd have to roll, and, like, I don't have to. Nothing else can hit me at this juncture.
True. But that doesn't mean, like, the AI is separate to whether or not they will hit or not. So, like,
right.
For example, if we roll, let's say we roll a d6, and I get a 1 here.
Okay.
This hound here is going to move up 5 squares. 1, 2,
right.
3, 4, 5, right?
Right.
At this point, you'll see that special ability Pounce has 5 squares of range.
Oh boy.
Move an extra 5 squares toward the hero with the lowest current health and deal 1d10 plus 10 damage to them. Right? And within range is you. So this would actually still pounce on you anyways.
Yep.
Yeah. In this case, though, you'll notice that Pounce is an auto hit. There is no way to avoid that. So you're just going to have to take the damage.
Yeah. This is what happens when one is the tank.
Yep. And in this case, you're going to be taking 2 plus 10.
So it's 12 damage. My toughness takes out 8.
So you lose 4 HP.
Okay.
However, there's a second effect. The hero may be knocked prone.
Oh, great.
It's calculated against your willpower. So you'll have to roll a d20 against your willpower to see if you stay standing.
Okay. Let me just bring my shit up again so I can see what willpower is going to be an 8. Ah!
Wow, you are playing this game like a god.
The dice love me today.
Yeah. Just, like, don't play a D&D game, or, like, you will die with all your 2s and whatnot, but, yeah. Okay, so that handles that one, and then the very last hound will also act, and they will do a 4, which in this case is move and a basic attack. So it will move up 5 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's unable to actually get close enough to hit anything, so the rest of its turn fizzles. That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. So I will be playing as Laureate now, and on my turn, I get to do a bunch of fun stuff. And I can see that you're in a bit of trouble over there, being surrounded by a bunch of dogs.
Yeah, just
right?
a bit.
So what I'm going to do is I am going to cast a couple spells on you as a party druid. And in this game, there are no such things as spell charges. So long as I have the action pool to do it, I can do it as many friggin' times as I want to.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Can you pull up Laureate's card or no?
Can I pull up her card?
Yeah, do you see Laureate as a character?
Journal. Characters. I have Rook. Oh, there we go.
You see Laureate? Cool.
Yep, Laureate is now in my character bag.
Alright. Can you see your character sheet?
I only see bio and info.
Dang it. Why does this keep happening?
Not a clue.
Yeah, alright. Give me that. Okay, can you see Laureate now?
I still just see bio and info.
No character sheet?
No, unless it's in the handouts.
It's not.
Then no.
Well, maybe it is. Let me take a look. Yeah, okay, it is. We can use the one in the handouts. It's a pre-generated image, so you can't really play around with it the way that you are with your current one, but it'll work for an example. So if you pop open the handout for Laureate, you should see an image there that you can zoom in on.
Yep.
All right, if you zoom in on it, you'll see that she has a long list of spells.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be dropping a rejuvenation on you.
Okay.
You'll see that it is a sustain spell, and I'll explain what sustain is in a second. The next thing you'll see that it targets a hero with a range of 5, which you are clearly in. At which point, the effect here is that I get to heal you for 1d8 HP, which is fantastic, especially because it's a fast action, and I can cast up to 4 of these every turn.
Right.
Now, you haven't taken that much damage, so I'm going to just cast 1 on you for now.
Okay.
And let's see what happens. And you're going to get healed for 2 health.
Okay.
Now, the cool thing, though, is while that sounds a little pathetic, this is a sustainable ability. And you'll see on the across the row of class actions, you'll see what's reads there as a trigger limit, a sustain limit, and an amp limit.
Sustain effect, repeat effect.
Right. So if you look above rejuvenation to like above the class actions there, like above wildfire, you'll see 3 limits.
Wildfire. Sustain effect, repeat effect also deals with damage to foes adjacent to target.
Yeah, right above that.
Oh. I see throwing knife.
It's in the white, not the gray.
Okay.
Yeah, the negative space there, right?
Sustain limit 2.
Great. So those limits determine the amount of like advanced effects that you can pull off every turn.
Okay.
So if you have an amp load of 1, you're allowed 1 amplify effect. If you have a trigger load of 1, you're allowed 1 trigger load effect. For me, I'm allowed up to 2 sustains because I'm built to work that way. So what I can do after I cast an effect on you is I can say, yeah, you know, that's cool. 2 HP is enough, and I can lock it in. If I do lock it in, every future turn, when my turn starts, you get the effect repeated on you immediately. And then I can still take a full turn.
Nice. So
right.
Basically I'm regenning 2 health every time your turn comes up.
Right, but I have a sustain limit of 2, so I can technically cast both of them, 2 rejuvenations on you, and keep both sustaining so that you're healing even more. So in this case, I'm going to play slightly differently. I'm going to realize that if you're standing up there with all these hounds surrounding you, I'm going to drop a wildfire on one of the hounds instead. But rather than target the weakened one that you hit already, I'm going to drop it on the one with full health. Okay. If I hit with this, which I will find out after I roll a d20. On a 9. So if we take a look at my cap, you'll see that I don't crit. I do hit, though I don't penetrate, right?
Right.
This attack does 2d6 piercing damage. So if it pierces through enemy armor, it means that, you know, I just ignore the resistance, so I have auto penetration no matter what. So in this case, I'm going to get somewhere between 2 to 12 damage on that enemy. And if I choose to sustain wildfire, next turn, not only do I get that damage value on the target I hit, I also get to do it to all adjacent enemies, which includes the wounded one you already put some damage into. Right? So if you can continue to group up all the different people, Wildfire will do a ton of work.
I will do what I can.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. And that will leave me with one slot free, right, for my action pool.
Right.
That last action, I am going to pocket. I don't have to use all of my actions on my turn. I can use them out of order, provided that something during the later parts of the combat fulfill the conditions to my trigger actions. So you'll notice at the very bottom, Rusting Entanglement allows me to trigger against enemies that take move actions. Right? And the big bad hasn't moved yet.
Right.
We don't know where he's going to go, what he's going to do, or whether or not he's going to get in range. If I guess wrong, and he doesn't do something that I can trigger against, I have wasted a part of my turn. But if I guess right, it can pay off dividends because we have the ability to react to gameplay immediately. That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. Alrighty. So I still need to roll some damage on Wildfire. In this case, that'll be 2d6. And I am doing a whopping 2 snake eyes. I'm so bad at this. So that hound has taken no damage, basically. But I'm glad I tried. Alright, this leaves us with just the Houndmaster, which, if you'd like, you can control as well. And you just roll a d6.
Okay. Six.
Nice. 6. So in this case, you'll notice that the Houndmaster's grid here is different, right? It looks different than the Bloodhound. And
Yes.
the reason why it's different is because it's a lot larger. And as I said earlier, when an enemy rolls for a particular action chain, they perform every action on that chain. So in this case, they're going to move up 5 squares,
Okay.
then do a basic attack, and then
do his
special
A ability.
Yeah. And you'll notice that it also has tunnel vision and immediacy, which means that it's going to be moving towards and attacking you because you're closest.
Right.
But he also has a melee focus. If you ever get close enough, he will use his melee attack over his ranged attack.
Okay.
In this case, he's going to move up another 5 squares, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then his basic attack, you'll notice he has 2 of them, one with range 1, the other one with range 3.
Right.
He cannot hit you, right, because you're out of the range.
Right.
But he can strike at the woman. And if we were playing with that particular thing, for every time an action an enemy resolves that successfully targets her, she loses 1 hit point. She would be at 11 out of 12, and if her HP drops to 0, we effectively fail this encounter.
Right.
Not that that's a game over, we just have to play forward and live with the consequences of her dying.
Right.
Yeah. Right? And then his second ability is a Disarming Lash. In this case, would also deal damage and inflict a condition had it hit you, but because the only thing he can reach is the woman again, she takes 2 successful hits and she's already down like a 1/6 of her health. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. At this point, this ends the round of combat. We start the next round of combat where you and I can discuss as a party who wants to go first. Heroes are allowed to change their turn order every round. So if, for example, I don't want the enemies to be able to run away, I might say, hey, do you mind letting me go first? You immediately get the triggered healing, the Wildfire gets to burn enemies, and then I get to take my full turn. But you would have to wait for all the Bloodhounds to beat the crap out of you before you...
Or I could go.
Right. Or you can go first, but that's at the cost of me being able to do anything, and maybe the combo won't set up. And there's a lot of tactical choice there. So, with all that said, would you like to go first or second?
I will go first.
Sounds good.
So, I've already started wailing on this one.
Alrighty.
We may as well let the beating continue.
Sounds good. Now, you could try something like that, which is pretty standard, or if you want to try something unique, interesting, and like specifically Emberwind, you might want to look at your skewer action, which will give you the ability to try out an amplify effect.
Okay, hang on. Okay, let me bring that up. The things with Rook are the 2 characters in Rook are confusing because of the fact that I keep like clicking on the wrong one.
Oh, right. Sorry, I can fix that.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just like, why can I? Oh, that's right. That's the other one I need. Okay, so let's see. combatants. Fine. Skewer, general exploit one foe, just 3d8. Amp effect, expend one fast action to cause hit grunt foe to become a fallen foe. Lion's Pounce, make a move action as a free action of a foe within the basic melee attack range at the end of move action. Basic melee attack is under the target. The free action, basic melee, has +2 and +2p. Guided weapon. +2, but target is one of the hero. +4, allied target is self. If we're trying to low roll, what's with all the pluses?
So those pluses don't apply to your roll; they apply to your threshold.
So my thresholds would go up by 2.
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense then. Let's see. Sustain spell itself. All damage dealing actions deal resistance damage and cause hit foes to suffer a stack of burning.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's colored gold in your tide turner section.
Okay, so let's see. All right, let's give this skewer thing a shot.
Sounds good. So, like a basic attack, it uses a slow action and will also require you to roll a cap check.
Right.
So you're going to need to roll a d20 to see if you hit.
Going back into chat. Ten.
So in this case, that is a hit. And you get to roll, just like before, damage. And Skewer does 3d8 damage. You'll notice that Skewer has the same range and the same damage as your basic weapon. That's because any action that you have that's known as an exploit will take the properties of your equipment, whereas magic is standalone.
Right.
So if you were to use a sword, you might get more damage out of it, but you'd have less range.
Right.
Yeah, cool.
So roll 3d8.
Nice. So that does 10 damage, non-penetrating damage, so that's reduced by 4, and the Hound would take 6 damage, right?
Yep, Hound takes 6 damage.
However, after all the die rolls have come in, that is when you get to decide, tactically, if you want to apply an amplify effect. Provided that you hit with the main effect, you're allowed to use additional action points to perform bonus effects. In this case, you can amp by spurning one additional fast action to cause the person you scratched to immediately die.
Oh wait, so this Hound, if I cost one action point, immediately drops dead?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm losing an action point.
Sounds good. So, just so I'm aware, which Bloodhound did you hit?
The one that I was banging up originally.
Alright, so 2 just straight up is annihilated and dies.
Yep.
Which, I will move off the map so I can set this up easier for another game, but assume like they're just Kaputskis.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So that is a very lethal ability, and you'll notice that your amp limit there specifies 1, which means you can only perform 1 amp a turn. So had you more action points, you wouldn't be allowed to use Skewer's bonus effect anyways.
Do, but I can't do anything with it. It's basically literally have 1 left.
Well, with that 1 action point, you're capable of using any fast action. And you'll notice, if you scroll down your active speed, you'll see that you can shift for a single square, or you could use that on a Word of Comfort to heal any target 1d10 HP, including yourself.
Oh, well then, target heals 10 HP, amp effect, additional expense to heal +5, but I can't do that anyway, which is fine. I'm still in good health-wise. I'm going to use my last action point, and I'm going to shift so that the Bloodhound is now basically being blocked from getting through the front line.
Sounds good.
Okay, so that will do it for me.
Alrighty. At which point, the 2 remaining Bloodhounds, and that's my wife coming home, sorry about the alarm.
Okay, it's fine. It was just, I was like, what the heck was that earlier? I didn't really know what it was. So...
Yeah, so you'll notice here we have 2 remaining Bloodhounds, at which point you roll d6s to see how they perform.
Okay. Let's just do the one in front of me first with the hay. Roll 1d6. 4.
Cool. So one of them is going to move up and attack. We'll bring the back one up first.
Okay.
So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It still can't get up to you, right? So it's actually going to stop here and take a chomp out of the woman, bring her down to 9.
Or at least it would if we were playing with that schematic.
Right.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
The other Bloodhound goes next.
Mm-hmm.
On a 3.
At which point this would, bite you again because it's already there, and won't necessarily move because it's already in your face.
Right.
Yeah. Now that was lucky because if it rolled a 1 or a 5, it would actually leave you and then hop onto me. And the reason for that is because it specifically goes after the hero with the lowest health, and because you're at full health right now, and your max health is higher than mine, it would target me.
How am I at full health?
Well,
took.
You're not. You're at 40 right now, right?
Right. I took That's why I'm saying. How am I at full? I took damage from the Hound, and your healing hasn't kicked.
I thought you didn't you use the word comfort on yourself?
No, I shifted into this position.
Right, sorry. Well, either way, your 40 health is still higher.
Right. It's still higher than yours. That's like, wait a second. I'm not at max health. I know that.
No. Yeah. Sorry. I haven't been tracking that.
It's fine. Not an issue.
Yeah. So it would hop on me, and I have really high dodge as a druid, but I also have extremely poor willpower. So that would not only knock me prone and annihilate me, it would do a ton of damage to my basically non-existent toughness.
Right.
So bad news bear, right?
Yes.
But this is why, just in case it did that, I pocketed Resting Entanglement, because that gives me the option to cancel its movement, so it can't go anywhere other than in front of you.
Okay.
Because that was the trigger condition. If an enemy moves, I can react.
Right.
If I did that, it would also lower the Bloodhound's toughness and resistance by 2 points, dropping it from 4s to 2s, giving you more damage output if you wanted to hit it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. At which point, my turn starts, and then the healing ticks on you.
Heal 2.
Wildfire ticks on the Hound, so you get healed 2, and the Bloodhound takes 2 damage. I am the least effective combatant ever. And this is where I can pick whether or not I want to keep any sustains going. Since you're at full health, I don't see any reason to keep Rejuvenation on you right now, so I will be dropping that.
Okay.
And the Wildfire, rather than drop that normally, I'm going to use the Druid's Bloom effect, which allows me to effectively detonate sustain effects on enemies.
Okay.
So have it go away for free. I'm going to blow it up for an extra 5 damage on the enemy. Now my sustain slots are free, and I can cast whatever I want again with it.
Sounds good.
Right. And I'm going to do a very simple thing where I'm just going to drop 2 Primal Furies on you.
Okay.
Primal Fury will increase your penetration by 2 per stack. So your penetration has gone from, I believe your default is 8, right?
I'm bringing up my sheet again.
Yep, your penetration is 8.
Oh, yep, I see it.
Yeah, so now it's at 12 while I maintain these buffs on you. And for each stack of Primal Fury, you're allowed a free melee attack every turn. So
okay.
2 free stabs. Right? Pretty simple?
Yep.
Cool. And I'm going to adjust your penetration value to 12 just so it's easy to track.
I actually beat you to the punch.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Okay. So, and that would end my turn. I've left myself completely open. I have no defensive whatever. But that's okay because I figured you'd be able to handle this.
Right. I've got this pretty well handled.
Right. At which point the Houndmaster gets to go next.
Okay.
Which we'll roll a d6 to see what happens. And he performs 2, which in this case he gets to move and do 2 basic attacks. So he'll move another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now he's within range to actually hit you.
Oh no.
Right. So he swings not once, but twice, so you'll need to make 2 dodge checks here.
Okay, so roll. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit and roll 2d20s, ignore the totals.
Yeah, no worries.
A 9 and a
9
5.
And 5. So you get hit once, not twice.
Ow!
Yeah. And he rolls a d10 plus 10 and hits for 11. Wow, I've rolled nothing but 1s and 2s.
Ah! Okay, so I take 11.
So you take 3.
So
If,
I
however,
take
he
3.
had been close enough, as in 1 additional square, he could have hit you twice with the dagger, and each swing can hit for 2d10 plus 10, totaling to a maximum 60 damage. You're kind of getting the complete extremes because I am not rolling well. But yeah.
Okay, so I have adjusted my health accordingly.
Cool. At which point, that brings us to a brand new round.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it makes lots of sense to have you go first again, especially because you have all these buffs on you.
Indeed. I have, according to you, 2 free attacks, so...
Yes.
Before...
And you are, by the way, just to remind you, in range of stabbing the Houndmaster because you have a spear without moving.
Right.
Yeah.
So... Well, I've got a little something special I'm going to try to hit the Houndmaster with. I'm going to use my 2 free attacks and try to take on this Bloodhound in front of me.
Sounds good.
Again, we're just going to roll the 2d20s as one shot.
Mm-hmm.
An 8 and a 2.
So that's one that's a hit, and the other one is a crit. The crit straight up annihilates it, though, because, like, that does 24 damage minimum.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm, like, I'd be fine saying that it just dies, just to speed this up a little.
Okay, I have no issue with that. You're the game master, technically. If you roll hostile is dead, hostile is dead.
Alright, hostile is more than dead. He's just mincemeat.
Going to use, since he's within range, I'm going to use that ability I used on the Hound last round on the Master.
Sounds good. Now, I will point out here that Skewer does not work on the Master. You'll see that the effect in Skewer, the amp specifically states that it can only be used on grunt enemies.
Okay, so...
Weaken rank, and therefore cannot be instantly put down.
Alright, so the special... Well, it'll still do the 3d8. I mean, the 3d8, so...
Yep.
So, I use both my free attacks on the Hound. So I'm going to just get one shot on him, which is fine. 12, which...
Does hit.
Okay.
And thanks to the buffs, also penetrates.
Penetrates. So... Takes 15 points of damage.
Nice. Cool. So, yeah, that brings him down to 35 health.
Okay, that was 2. That was 2 since I could not trigger my ability.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? We'll take another shot at him.
Cool.
11.
And that's an 11, which is another hit. And you are, again, rolling like a god. No one needs... Like, a lot of people who roll poorly, I would suggest take a look at something like Guided Weapon, which boosts your accuracy. But, like, you don't need it. You're just constantly stabbing.
And he takes another 15 points of damage.
Nice. So that brings him, 15 is 30. That brings him to half health in one quick go. Very cool.
Okay.
Yeah, the Bloodhound would come and attack you. I'd take a turn, and yada yada. But that should give you a pretty good feel of this, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to cut the combat encounter here, show you a couple other things, and then we'll probably need to conclude the demo since we're running up on the end of the session here.
Okay, yeah. Let's fast forward a bit here. I'm cool with that.
Cool. So what I didn't show you is actually what's hidden underneath these faux cards. If you are a particular masochist, you will see that what we were playing
Particular masochist. I love it.
Yeah, we were playing on a demo set, which just teaches you the base mechanics.
Right.
Kicking the game up to its real difficulty unlocks this new mode known as Veterancy. Unlike other games where things just get tougher by having bigger numbers, enemies in this game unlock an AI system that actually learns how you play.
Oh, great!
And every time you do particular things, each round I get to adjust by unlocking a red hex, which changes their behaviors because I can reroute their AI based on what you do.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
for example, I was casting a lot of support spells on you, right?
Right.
If I do that within range of the Houndmaster, he has a trigger ability called Thundercrack, where he gets to automatically smack me in the face, deal a ton of damage, and also silence me so I can't do anything.
So you can't continue to cast the spells. Lovely.
Right. They also, both the Bloodhound and the Houndmaster, gain Avenger, where if the Houndmaster dies before the Bloodhounds now get bonus damage on everything, whereas the Houndmaster gets free extra attacks, assuming that the Hounds
The Hounds die first.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things, and this is, again, just basic stuff. When we talk about elites and bosses, these grids like quadruple in size and they get really complicated. And they start, playing like almost like you're playing against real human people.
Right.
Yeah, without you needing to do any work because, again, this whole thing so far has been run GM free. So we'll switch back over to the book really quick in the screen share for the Zoom call.
Okay. Let me just do two things here.
Yeah, no worries.
The first thing I'm doing is switching over to the book. The second thing is, as I mentioned already, I'm streaming this, so I'm switching between what we're supposedly looking at.
Yeah, no worries.
And done on both.
Cool. Which one? Let's assume that you won, and if so, you get a victory. Right? The Houndmaster reaches for one of his dogs as he delivers the final blow. His body twitching for a moment before going still. Blood flows from the corner of his mouth, trickling across the white paint on his cheek. The woman pulls herself to her feet and spits on the body before turning to you. "Thanks," she says. "First time anyone's ever helped me in Gelspar. I should leave before my bad luck catches up to me."
Yes, you should.
She pops her arm back into its socket with an audible snap.
Oh.
Her ragged shawl is covered in dust and filth. Dozens of cuts and bruises are visible beneath her tattered garb, but your attention is drawn to the shimmer of purple light radiating from the object she is concealing in her hand. Noticing your gaze, she tucks the source of light into her shawl. "I could find a way to repay you later," she says. The woman limps off into the night, and you get +3 added to your
campaign clock, and continue with the detour on the next page.
Yep. The Houndmaster's broken whip lays by his side, but he may have had other useful items. You stop to search his body. At which point, if you do...
Yeah, it's a fallen foe. We may as well check them for loot.
Right. Of course, that's the RPG way.
Right.
And if you do, you find some gold, and you get a serrated dagger to add to a hero's inventory, which improves their critical stat by 1 until the end of the game.
Okay.
Yeah. You turn and forge deeper into Gelspar. This takes you to the Starlight Commons, where you meet up with Baron Kendrick, and he... I'll read this scene, and then we'll conclude this here.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Yeah. The Hearth Crystals, the only steady source of light in Gelspar. You follow its dim, flickering glow across the Hacksaw Bridge and through a twisting maze of empty streets and alleys. It is not long before Starlight Commons comes into view. Long ago, it was a resplendent courtyard with glittering fixtures arranged like constellations in the evening sky. Today, the Starlight Commons is a crumbling ruin. The jewels that earned the plaza its name are long gone, and the Gelspar Crystal is the only remnants of that former glory.
Such a pity.
Sorry?
I said such a... I kind of in character went... Since I've lived in this area so long, such a pity.
Right. Night, an uneasy silence hangs over the area. Even the crystal's usual hum has diminished to a barely audible frequency. Dozens of thugs, many with their faces painted to resemble skulls, lurk in the shadows of the dilapidated square. Kendrick Maddox, the aspiring merchant baron himself, stands between a pair of damaged statues. He wears a black feathered mantle with an intimidating broadsword strapped across his back. The hilt consists of an intricately engraved pair of entwined serpents below a massive diamond pommel. It makes Kendrick imposing despite his modest stature. His features are sharp as if cut from stone. He is flanked by a small retinue of spearmen, their fine armor at odds with the scavenged scrap metal and leather garb of the men in the shadows. "A woman just took another shard of the crystal," Kendrick says, his voice laced with aggravation and impatience. "The chasers pursued her the way you came. Did you see her? I don't care if she lives or dies, but that shard must be returned." At which point you can either say nothing or tell him about the woman you helped.
That woman we just... What? That woman we just stole one of the shards?
Right, and we'll conclude the demo here. But as we play through, you'll eventually reach other acts where you explore other parts of the city, and
right.
finally head out to the sky yourself. And playing through the entirety of Skies of Axia takes somewhere around 5 to 15 hours, depending on your group size.
Right.
There are 5 very different endings with 4 very different sequels, and a bunch of other kind of cool little mini campaigns, vignettes, or what we call them, that flesh out the world around you. And one of the challenges, obviously, with these types of games that are so structured based on this pre-written content is, well, what if the players don't want to follow the story? Right? What if someone wants to kill the Houndmaster and the woman, or like accost her for the crystal at the very end?
Right.
Well, all of those things are actually supported near the end of the book here, where we have a mini Dungeon Master guide called Storyteller section, which tells you all the hidden information about who the characters are, what's going on, what's hidden in the scenes, and additional like quest directions you can take if you don't happen to like the story as written. Yeah, that hopefully gives you a bit of a taste for Emberwind and what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also whoever else is watching your stream.
Well, this game sounds pretty cool. Thanks for the demo.
Oh, thank you for signing up for it. Do you have any other questions, by the way?
No, I think we are good.
Cool. Very cool. Alrighty, so if that's the case, let's conclude this session, and yeah, I think that's about it. Unless you want any of the links to like the game website and so forth.
No, I think I can find the game website off the schedule stuff.
Cool. Sounds great. Then I will chat with you later.
All right.
I don't know if you're signed up for this or if you're interested, but I am running specifically tomorrow a different breakdown and demo type of Emberwind, where we'll be talking about it from a psychotherapeutic angle instead.
What time is that?
I believe it's 1 p.m. tomorrow.
I unfortunately am unavailable as I have a work shift until 4. I did notice you're doing a similar thing on Sunday, though I will look into that.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Yep.
Sam, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Not a problem, man.
See ya.
See ya. And that, folks, was Emberwind, live from the Civic and Sphere 2020 virtual gaming floor. I am in the chat. If you enjoyed anything you hopefully saw, I saw previews what you guys did, but I didn't really get the whole screen, so I don't really know what you guys saw. Hopefully you saw enough to enjoy what was going on. As I slayed creatures. I like slaying creatures. I am including the link to the gaming website he mentioned in the chat. So I think I am going to take a portion of my breather, and I think I'm going to go run to his little store, and I'm going to buy at least a PDF copy of the rules. I will see you. I will hopefully be running a gaming session at 8 p.m. tonight. We'll be doing one of two things. We're either going to be doing Blood and Ropes, which is in the Fiasco gaming system. It is based off professional wrestling, or I have a Safe Fiasco, which is a Fiasco place that I modify to reflect Save Against Fear as opposed to its actual setting, which is Gen Con. So I'm now including the website for Emberwind. As I said, I'm popping over to the website now. I'm going to go grab me a copy of that rulebook because this game sounds pretty cool. I'll see you guys around 8-ish. Until then, this is HolyWolf 526 I did it again. This is Pastor HolyWolf coming to you large and in charge from Civic and Fear 2020. Until 8 o'clock, I'm out of here.